Okay, everybody, it's me, Gregory Mannarino. It is Monday, August 1st, 2022. Before I even do anything else, I want to read something to you. Most of you know who Lex Luthor is. Well, the real Lex Luthor is Neel Kashkari, Fed President Neel Kashkari. Now, this guy, this is enough to make me scream, and I actually might do that right here and now. This is what he had to say about inflation. Are you ready for this? I'm laughing. I can't believe this. The Federal Reserve keeps getting surprised as inflation keeps coming in hotter than expected. In other words, what he's saying is the Federal Reserve didn't see this coming. Duh! Really? Oh, how about, sure they did. Not only has the Federal Reserve seen this coming, the Federal Reserve has gone out of its way, and I mean way out of its way, to create inflation. You all know this. They are hell-bent, and I mean that, hell-bent on continuing to inflate on a scale that people really have no idea what's coming. But what they're doing is, again, look, what they always do. They float out some creature, in this case, Neel Kashkari, of all people, to say that the Fed is surprised, shocked. They had no idea that this was going to happen. You see, do they think we're really that stupid? In other words, the Federal Reserve has been pumping trillions and trillions of dollars into the debt market here since the meltdown of 2008, flooding the world with dollars, funneling dollars around the world to other central banks who buy assets with dollars. Oh yeah, that's another thing you're not supposed to know. I've been telling you this for years. And he's saying the Fed is just so surprised. He's surprised too. He had no idea that this was going to happen. Oh, and he goes on to say that inflation will persist. So let's see. He has no idea. The Fed is shocked about rising inflation at its current pace, but he's certain that inflation is going to persist. Do you see what I'm talking about here? They know exactly what they're doing, and they know why they're doing it. Okay, it's very simple. The power of every central bank on the planet resides in one thing: their ability to continue to issue more debt. That's it. You want to kill central banks? You know how to do it. Nobody on the planet knows better than you do. Prevent a central bank from issuing one single dollar, just $1 of more debt, and they implode. The whole debt-based economic model implodes. And what do we know is going on, people? Why are central banks right now so desperate to continue to inflate? Because we're in the end game here. And they realize we are going to run into a liquidity crisis, a lockup of the system in its entirety, and that is going to be deliberate as well. Another major crisis, have people screaming in the streets, I can't access my cash. There's nothing in my bank account. My ATM cards don't work. My credit cards don't work. I can't buy anything. Sound familiar to you? Well, yeah. And then they're going to issue in a new system they already have. But this is just too much. I can't stand it. Look, the Federal Reserve, public enemy number one, they got to go, but they're not going to go. This president, every single president, is going to continue to call on the Fed to continue to issue more debt, to prop up the economy. That's all this is, like the economy. The stock market, the economy, it's over. It is over and done. Now let's talk about some economic news here. This is pretty incredible. Home prices fall at a record pace in June. Home prices fall at a record pace in June. Meanwhile, are you ready? Rent, food, and energy prices are rising at their fastest pace in over 4 decades. Make this stuff up. Make any of it up. I challenge you every day to do that. People, make any of this stuff up. All right. With that said, let's move forward here. We have a stock market that, as of late, has gone literally parabolic. Okay. What have we witnessed happen? Forget about the stock market. It's the debt market. And you know what's going on here. ECB, unlimited bond buying, although they're going to increase it beyond unlimited. How does that work? I don't know. I'm still waiting to find out. Federal Reserve following suit. And you can see it with your own eyes with the 10-year yield cratering, absolutely cratering. 2.68 this morning with the 10-year yield. We're going lower. with regard to the 10-year yield. And the Fed, if you just think about what's going on. The Federal Reserve has been raising the federal funds rate, the overnight lending rate, and they're trying to tell you that that's going to help inflation. It's going to help it. It's going to help. Yeah, it's going to help. It's going to help nothing. But you see, that's the lie. That is the biggest lie, in my view, that is being shoved down people's throat, that by the Fed nudging the federal funds rate, the overnight lending rate, they're going to miraculously stop inflation. No, that can't happen, and everybody knows that's true, except, I guess, the mainstream propaganda ministries who keep pushing that dog shit narrative here. And then you have central banks continuing to buy it all, under the table, above the table, left, right, everywhere you want to talk about it, continuing to go out of their way to create inflation. But Neil Kashkari, they're really surprised. The man is the Lex Luthor of the Federal Reserve, man. I'm telling you, he's a freaking creature of the highest possible order here. Anyway, where was I? Yes, 10-year yield 2.68, going lower. And watch what's going to happen here. The Federal Reserve, like I said, they're supposedly, raising the federal funds rate. But mortgage rates are dropping. The entire yield curve is dropping. And the 10-year yield especially is cratering. You can't make that stuff up either. It's impossible to do. But that's exactly what is going on here. It's a freak show. On the back of that, I believe there's the potential here, a great potential, to see the 10-year yield continue to drop. As cash is pushed into the debt market, people, you know what I'm going to tell you, it creates deliberately an environment of risk, meaning cash moving into the stock market. And that's what the Federal Reserve is going out of its way to do. In fact, the Fed is, as you well know, is sending a signal to the market. Don't worry, we got your back. We got your back. You got it. Yeah, that's what they're doing. And it's working. It's working. I'll tell you something else, though. This market, you've heard me say this a million times. No asset class can go straight up like we've been doing here in the market, even with the 10-year yield cratering like this, without a little bit of a pullback. If the market needs one, are we going to get it? Who knows? With easy money, I guess magic money, anything is possible. It's magic money, creates things. It makes things happen that have no business happening. Cash should not be going into the market right now. We have an economy in literal free fall here in the United States and around the world. We have this corporate agenda that's being fulfilled. Tens of billions of dollars are being funneled just right now to tech companies. You know all about this spending package, nearly $300 billion. Whatever it really is, a stimulus package or some kind of backdoor bailout here. Meanwhile, U.S. small businesses are failing. They're failing at their fastest pace ever in history. You're not allowed to know anything about this. Small business owners can't even pay their freaking rents. It's an unbelievable thing. And businesses are failing here in the United States. It's a disgusting thing to see taking place here right now. 51% of U.S. small businesses say they might have to close forever. 35% of U.S. small businesses couldn't pay their rent in June. But corporations are getting tens of billions of dollars. How is that? Why are people not screaming from rooftops? I don't know. Imagine if this was going on, let's say, I don't know, even maybe 30 years ago, 20 years ago, people would be up in arms right now. But today, nothing. Silence. Zero. They don't care what happens anymore. It's a population that has been not only dumbed down, but lulled into a sense of learned helplessness. I'm telling you. And it's astonishing to me. We need a revolt. We need a revolution in this country. We're not going to get it because there's not enough people like you and me. We are a fraction of the population. Most people have no idea what's happening to them or why. They're kept in this state of zombieism, I guess you would call it that. It's an incredible thing, really. All right, so let's go back to the market. Stock futures right now all lower, despite the 10-year yield $2.65 lower. Crude oil taking a hit this morning. We'll see how that plays out. We got Bitcoin and cryptos under pressure. Gold flat, silver catching a bid. That's the story this morning. But I want to hear from you. I really honestly do. What do you think about this? How is this even possible that they can float out this thing, Lex Luthor, Neil Kashkari, saying, this is a quote, Fed keeps getting surprised as the pace of inflation is rising faster than expected. And then he goes on to say that inflation will persist. What do you make of that? I really want to hear from you. I swear to you that I will read the comments. What do you think of that? How can he say one side of his mouth, the Fed keeps getting surprised, and they're shocked at how fast inflation is rising, and then at the other side of his mouth, he's telling you and me, like we didn't know already, that inflation is going to persist. Make that up. Make it up. Anyway, I think as I know you do, he knows exactly what's going on here, and he understands what the Fed is doing. It's deliberate. It's deliberate. I just can't stand it anymore. I really can't. All right, people, look, today is the 1st of the month. On the 1st of every month, I humbly ask you to support my work. Hey, Greg, you know what? You're doing a good job. I'm going to send you $5. That's all I ask for. Each month, the 1st of every month, please support my work. I work my rear end off here to bring these videos to you twice a day. And I hope I'm making a difference in your life. I hope you are as well. So please, if you feel like it's worthwhile, support my work. $5. There is a link in the description of this video. I would greatly appreciate that. All right. With that said, people, I will see all of you at the end of the day. And, well, wow. That's all I have to say.